Awesome. Great. Well, thank you for the invitation to talk with everyone today. Good morning. My name is Maria Marlin. I am the outreach specialist for the Washington Invasive Species Council, and I'm going to do a lightning overview of what the council is and why you should report any sightings of exotic or invasive species and how to do it. And so here we go. So the Washington Invasive Species Council was created by the state legislature in 2006, and it's tasked with preventing and stopping invasive species of all types. And to do this, the council brings together all the state agencies that have a role to play in invasive species, as well as tribal nations, federal and local agencies, industry, university, and conservation partners. And if you think about it, every organization has a slightly different mission, right? But what the council does is we unite everyone and we look at the big picture and we fill in the gaps that these organizations individually cannot be filled in. So we like to compare ourselves to a compass. We provide policy level direction that really all members can use related to invasive species and their response and their management. So the council is staffed by 3 people. Stephanie Helms is the executive coordinator. Jessica LaBelle is here in the audience today. She is the invasive species program specialist. And then there's myself, the outreach specialist. And I just wanted to, again, make a note that invasive species don't respect boundaries, right? They don't respect borders. So it's a global problem. So each organization and each individual has this responsibility to work together to address the problem. So when we do outreach, when the council does outreach, we really emphasize that we all know how to prevent and stop invasive species, right? But each of us has this role to play. So all the way from the global down to the neighborhood scale, there's this role for everyone, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. So the Washington Invasive Species Council has a strategic plan that goes from 2020 to 2025. This is a guiding document that guides our daily work. There are 6 key strategic areas, and they're leadership and coordination, innovation and research, education and outreach, prevention, early detection and rapid response, and eradication, control, and containment. So awareness is goal number 1. How do we teach someone to recognize a problem through identification of the target or the signs and symptoms which may indicate a problem? And then goal number 2 is teaching someone how to say something if they see something. So this message of see something, say something is really woven into all of our outreach materials and all of our presentations. We want to reach everyone within our community, and we employ a variety of approaches to reach everyone, including brochures and signage, which you can see some examples here. And not only that, promoting awareness really comes in all shapes and sizes. So some other examples of how we raise awareness include through educational campaigns, events, workshops such as this one, symposia, working with partners, information sharing, social media, and serving as a hub of free educational material. So why is awareness and prevention so important? Well, we love to talk about the bioinvasion curve, which shows how an invasive species detection quickly becomes very costly. So over here, let's see if I can get my little laser. Okay. So over here, early in time, if we detect an invasion early enough, then we have this high chance of eradication. However, as time goes on, the infested area grows and grows, and that chance of eradication now becomes smaller and smaller. And we now have to move to containment, which of course is more costly. Now, if the infestation grows even more, we are all the way up here, we have to pivot to resource protection and simply just trying to save valuable resources. And now our control costs have really skyrocketed. So prevention is really the lowest cost solution. And one more thing to note here, it's my goal and really the goal of the council to increase the training and the number of first detectors so that we can bring this point of public awareness typically beginning all the way down here to ideal early detection and this point in time where eradication is likely and most effective. All right, another example of why should you learn and why should you report invasive species? Well, I want to go through this example to show that aware and cross-trained professionals are really the backbone of finding and reporting invasive species in Washington. So this example focuses on insects, which is great. And since 1990, 70 introduced insects have been found in Washington. And researchers reviewed each detection and categorized how the species was detected, and then classified each type of reporting party who made the detection. Now, 28% were detected through targeted trapping by entomologists, over here 28%, and then 20% were detected as bycatch through trapping for target pests. So if you add those together, that's a total of 48% being made by professional entomologists. Now let's hop over here and contrast that against 36% found by private citizens, and I got that by adding 23 and 13% made by the public to either Washington State Department of Agriculture or Washington State University Extension, and add 16% to that made by non-regulatory biologists, such as fish surveyors who just snapped a photo of an insect that they didn't recognize. Okay, so 16, 13, and 23%, that's a total of 52% were found by first detectors, whether they were the public or cross-trained professionals. So hopefully this is really inspiring to you, and it's a call to action to mobilize those around you to help us detect and report invasive species. So the premise here really is simple. You don't have to be an entomologist to participate in our network. The majority of first detectors are really just everyday people who keep their eyes peeled for signs and symptoms of high priority invasive species and report them to the agencies to aid in detection and rapid response. So that's all we're asking you to do. Just keep an eye out in your yard, your neighborhood, or when enjoying outdoor activities. Be aware and just report what you spot. So how do you report? Well, there's a few different options. There's a couple phone options. If you see an aquatic invasive species during business hours, you can call the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife emergency hotline. There's a feral swine hotline. So any pig outside of captivity is considered feral in our state. You can call, if you're in Oregon as well, Idaho, you can call the feral swine hotline. We have the mobile app, which I'll go through in a moment. And we also have the website where you can find reporting forms. So the WA Invasive Species mobile app is great because it's free. We all love free things, right? It's easy to use. It is powered by EdMaps, and EdMaps is very similar to iNaturalist. If you're not familiar with EdMaps itself, you can see the distribution of invasive species throughout not just the state, but throughout the whole country. So your report goes to improve this national map. And I'm now going to play a 5-minute video, we have time, on how exactly to report. Let's see, gotta get rid of the laser pointer.
This video is going to walk you through how to make an invasive species sighting report on the WA Invasives app. First, select the app from the home screen. When you select the app, it's going to open up into our priority invasive species. Now, our app doubles as a field guide, so you can actually scroll through, select the one you are interested in, and read more about it. There's information regarding their characteristics and how to differentiate them from native species. You can also make a report directly from each species page. However, there's another way to make a report. If you go back and select in the upper left-hand corner the menu icon, which has 3 white bars, the menu will pop up. Now, you go to Report a Sighting. You will be brought to a list of invasive species. Scroll through and select the invasive species you would like to report. Now, for this example, I'm going to use spotted jewelweed, which is a noxious weed. However, when I scroll through, I see it is not in J, and it is also not in S. But that's okay, because we provide options for you to still submit sightings if the exact species is not listed. Under U, you will see unknown aquatic animal, unknown aquatic plant, unknown disease, unknown land animal, and unknown land plant. Even if you know the identification of the species you are reporting, if it is not listed, use these options. So for spotted jewelweed, I'm going to select unknown land plant. Next, a map will come up. Now this is important to note. This map is going to have a pin that's going to be dropped exactly where you are. However, potentially, you saw that invasive species somewhere else. So you have to drag and move that pin to where the sighting actually was. So to do that, zoom out, and then you tap and hold the pin. So this is just an example, but let's say I found it over here in this park. I'm gonna move it right there. And then, once you get the location correct, you just tap the box that says sighting location is here. Next, you are provided with an option to upload photos to your sighting. So I'm going to use gallery, choose that picture, and now you are brought to a screen where you enter your name, your email address, and a description. Now for the description, we aren't necessarily looking for a physical characteristic description of the species. Instead, we're looking more for location information. And if someone were to go out and search for your invasive species, where would they find it? So for example, let's say you saw this spotted jewelweed on a trail about half a mile in on the right-hand side. So I would type in this box on XYZ trail about half a mile in on the right. After you are finished with the location information, tap Review Sighting Report. Then review the information on the screen to make sure it is correct. Finally, hit Save. But you're not quite finished. Even though you hit Save, your report is still not submitted. To submit your report, go back to that menu icon in the upper left-hand corner with the 3 white bars. Then hit Report Queue. Once you're in your report queue, in the upper right-hand corner, select Actions, select your report, and then in the bottom, hit Upload. You will know you are successful when you receive an email thanking you for your submission.
All right. So that's how you make a report on the WA Invasives app. If you're reporting some insect that is not on our list, again, you're going to be using that unknown option. All right, so what happens after you submit a report? Well, what happens is there's an immediate notification that's generated to council staff, state, tribal, federal agencies, local agencies. Really, anyone who has signed up to receive this notification will receive it. And the response is really going to depend on the lead agency, the species, the area of the report. And an example is the very first report of Vespa mandarinia in the United States, as well as Washington. I'm sure everyone remembers this back in late 2019. So someone basically stepped outside and found a northern giant hornet, and the response was very rapid, right? And this initial report led to really unprecedented national and international interest. And so that's one example of a response, right? But on the other hand, if there's a report of a widely distributed invasive species, then potentially, you're not going to get international attention, but you will receive a follow-up. You might receive information on the species you're reporting, how to manage it. And again, we really just wanted to emphasize that all reports are appreciated and needed. So you will receive thank you as well. I know I'm running short on time, so I think that's everything I have to say. Just wanted to really re-emphasize that we all have a role to play, right? We've covered awareness and reporting, see something, say something, and we just really ask you to be part of the solution and not part of the problem. Thank you again for being here, for listening to me. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to take them now. My information's on the screen. You can call, you can email, happy to chat further about this.